Hey friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a plan a card with me video. I've been trying to do one every month because you guys seem to really enjoy those and respond positively to them. So we are going to plan out an entire card today, figuring out what images we're using, figuring out the layout, the color palette, the other supplies like cardstock, pattern paper, all of that stuff. We're going to figure that out together. I don't really have any idea in mind at all at this point. I do know that my next card that I need to have done for my design team requirements is from Hello Bluebird. So I will be using that company. But other than that, I have no thoughts in mind. I can pretty much do anything I want. So I know that I do want to use some of my brand new pattern paper. If you missed my previous video, I went through my 4 new pattern paper pads and kind of broke those down and showed you which patterns I would mix together and why, and which ones I wouldn't mix together and why. And I'm super excited to start using these. So I know that I'm going to have pattern paper on today's card, and that is really my only plan. I know pattern paper and what company I'm doing. So yeah, I think any of these are going to be really great. But I would say that the print that I am most excited to use above everything is probably from the Pebbles Cool Girl 6x8 pad. It was one of the strawberry prints. I just really loved this print, and I thought it was gorgeous and was super excited about it. So maybe we'll start with that. It's going to be this piece here, this print with the strawberries and the florals. I thought that would be really pretty to use. It just really screams spring to me. There's like little ladybugs in the mix. There's some butterflies. It's just so vibrant and gorgeous. So maybe we'll use this as a jumping off point. So let's see. We could go with florals, or we could go with strawberries. I really love the strawberries. That's what really drew me to this print. So maybe we'll do strawberries. And we have several strawberry stamp sets from Hello Bluebird. So let me grab all of the ones that I own and we can look through together and decide. I think I actually own all of the Hello Bluebird stamp sets that have strawberries in them because I love strawberries. So we have the strawberry jam. This is the oldest one, but it's got these beautiful strawberry vines with little florals. That could be really fun. There's also the newer strawberry patch that has this beautiful strawberry, and then we've got a bunch of little mice, and then there is this one here that is the sweet strawberries. We've got some more mice, and then this one is like a 2-part stamping or 2 or 3-part stamping depending, but you would stamp the negative and then you stamp the details on top. So we could use any of these. Maybe the strawberry patch. I really like this strawberry vine. Maybe we'll use this one. Let's set this one aside. I'm thinking though that I might want to mix some florals into it, and I don't know if I really want to do the mice today, even though I love coloring mice. I really love them. This kind of reminds me of a fairy garden, and I wonder if I could mix one of the fairy sets in with the strawberries to kind of create something different. And there are a few fairy sets as well from Hello Bluebird. So let me grab a couple of those and we'll see if we can combine a couple of different stamp sets on this card and really bring this paper to life. So again, we have a couple of options. We have the fairy dance with all of these sweet little fairies, and there's also a big mushroom, and then there's also the fairy garden, and this one has some nice little flowers as well that could really be nice, especially with this print. We could combine maybe like this floral here going in this direction, and then the strawberry going this direction, and make like a little arching frame between the two, and then put some of the fairies underneath. I think that could be really cute. Yeah, I think we might do that. I'm just going to set this one aside for now. I don't know, we might end up using one of the fairies from it. I don't know, but we'll for sure use these two stamp sets. I think that's going to be really fun. So another thing I need to decide is if I want to use any dies or what dies I want to use. And I often with Hello Bluebird will use one of the gallery frames because I really, really love them. But I don't think I want to use any of those today because you're only going to get a small portion of the pattern paper showing, and then you get a wide open area in the middle, you know, because it's a frame. But with that, you're not going to see very much of the pattern paper. And I really want to emphasize this pattern because it's so gorgeous. So I'm thinking that I would rather have more pattern paper on this card and then a smaller focal panel. So maybe like a circle or an oval, something like that. We have a few little nesting circles and ovals, so let me grab a couple of those dies and we will start to lay some stuff out once we figure out which one we want to go with. So I pulled out quite a few options. We have the nesting circles, we have the nesting ovals, we could also do a square focal panel, and then there's also the nesting half circles. That could be something interesting as well. I'm not really sure which one of these I want to use. So let's go ahead and lay out a few images and kind of go from there. So I'm going to set this pattern aside for right now, just push it off to the side, and I will grab a sheet of white cardstock that we can lay out our images on. All right, so as always, I'm using a piece of 5.5 by 4.25 wide cardstock, depending on which way we want to go. This is the same size as the front of an A2 standard size card, so it's going to give us a good idea of how to lay things out. Let me just move the ones that I'm not using over there, and then we'll go ahead and figure out the layout with the ones that we do want. So we'll take this strawberry, and for now I'm just going to stick it in the middle of the card so I can kind of figure out, but we can adjust things as needed. And then let's take out this little patch of flowers and maybe have that going. Okay, they're kind of going to overlap a little bit. But that's fine. We can overlap and create something like a little arch. This one is a little bit shorter, but maybe we can fill in the bottom with another floral, maybe right down here. Since we have so many florals in that pattern paper, we could do that. And then anything. There's a couple of different florals, but let's wait and see. I don't know. We could also do a little, maybe the mushrooms. The mushrooms are also cute. We could do the mushrooms down at the bottom. There's not mushrooms on that pattern paper, but we can always change our mind. Okay, so then we need a fairy. And which way do we want the fairy to be? Where were my other fairies? Let's see. I kind of like this fairy from the fairy dance. That's kind of got her hands spread down. I don't know. Should we try her? Could put her right in there. Maybe something like that. And then maybe we could add in a little friend, like a little shorter friend, like maybe one of the little ladybugs, since we've got ladybugs in that pattern paper. We could do, let's move her over a little bit. And we could even almost have it look like they're holding hands, because their hands are pretty much touching if we place them like that. That's pretty cute. It is taking up more of the pattern paper than I kind of hoped, but I do really like it. All right. So let's maybe stick with that for right now. And we can go back to the dies and figure out which shape is going to work best. So we could do a circle. A circle might work. Let's see what size we would need. We could maybe do something like that. A few of the images would just hang off the edges, but that's okay. I kind of like that look. But it doesn't leave very much room for a sentiment. Okay, well maybe. What if we did an oval instead? That would give us some room for a sentiment down at the bottom maybe. Could maybe do something along those lines. And again, some of the images would hang over the edge, but I don't mind that. Or we could always go up one size. But each size that I'm going up, I'm encroaching on more of that pattern paper, which isn't going to show. So I don't want to go too big. But we could maybe do something like that. And that leaves a little bit of room down at the bottom for a sentiment. What do we want for a sentiment? Would have to be something a little bit shorter. Could do maybe have a magical day. Something like that. That could work. Obviously this would be like moved more up on the panel. I wouldn't want it like down so low because it's not even, but just for a general idea, I think that that could work. I think that worked better than the circle. So maybe we'll go with the oval. I don't do oval focal panels very often, so it's kind of nice to do something a little bit different than what I would typically do. Just getting an idea here. I'm going to slide this over. So it is going to take up a good bit of the center of the pattern paper, but hopefully we'll still get a few little strawberries in there showing, depending which part of the pattern paper I use from. Maybe I could use it from this way, and that way I would be sure to get like a strawberry up here and maybe at least part of a strawberry over here. These would most likely be covered by the focal panel, but we would still get a few in there, and we would still get those pops of color. I might get this little ladybug here. This one would probably show as well, maybe even this one. So I think that that is a good amount of, you know, at least to be able to still have a really striking focal panel and emphasize the gorgeous pattern paper as well. And we've got enough little florals in here that I think we can pull in a few of the other colors, because we could do some aquas, we could do some yellow. Is there any other flowers we could add in here? There's a little bit of Gemma's dog here, so sorry about that. Just move that out of the way. Let me see what other florals, if there's anything else. There's a couple like single. Could do maybe like this flower down here by the mushrooms, and there's a couple little single ones. Do they have dies? I just want to make sure they have dies as well. Yes, they do. Okay, so we could do something like, could even do something like that. Just make it really nice and full with those florals so that we can pull in as many of the colors in this color palette as we can. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that we represent that pattern paper as best as we can. So we could take out the mushrooms, but I don't know, I kind of like the mushrooms in there. They kind of break stuff up a bit and, you know, give something a little extra interest. I don't think it has to be exactly what's in the pattern paper as long as the colors are represented. So we could do like little yellow mushrooms or whatever, even pink or anything. So I think I'm really liking how this is looking. I think that's really, really cute. So let's go ahead and stamp that out. All right, I have got a fresh piece of Spectrum Noir cardstock in my Misty. And let me just find the stamp set where I took the sentiment from, because I don't need that right now. That will get stamped later on. And I also don't need this oval anymore. And this was the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down. So I'll just remember that. It was number 5 was the right size for this particular card. And then we can just lay out these images and make sure that they have enough space so that I'm able to die cut them easily. I always like to kind of flop especially the strawberry vine down a couple of times and just make sure it's falling like it's naturally supposed to so that the die cut will cut right, you know. And that is actually going to be a really tight squeeze, so maybe we'll move the strawberries up a little bit so we can squeeze everything in. Okay, then we've got our little fairy girl. Make sure we have room for her. We've got this floral we can add. Maybe we have to move this over just a little bit more. Move her over a little bit more. We can put the mushrooms up towards the top. Put our little ladybug friend right there. And then we've got some leaves and some additional little florals. How's that looking? That looks pretty good, I think. Just make sure I have room for everything. Okay. I'm going to press that down so I can pick up all of those images at once. And then open the door of my Misty. So nice and sticky. And I don't need that anymore. I can set that back aside. And I'm going to stamp these out in my Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is my favorite ink for Copic coloring because it's alcohol marker friendly. Make sure you're using the Jet Black from Lawn Fawn if you're using the Lawn Fawn Black, not the Black Licorice. The Jet Black is the one that is alcohol marker friendly. The Black Licorice is not. It's just a regular black ink. So let me go ahead and stamp these out. So actually the day that this video is going to be coming out is the day of the solar eclipse. I don't know if you guys are in the path of totality, but we got super lucky. My hometown is actually directly in the path of totality. So hopefully we'll have like clear skies for it. I don't know. It keeps going back and forth in the forecast saying it'll be sunny and then saying it'll be like completely cloudy. So I don't even know at this point. But I am really excited for it. I've never seen a solar eclipse before, and I think it's going to be really cool. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos now on what to expect, just so that I can pay attention to like the subtle changes that will be happening with like the birds bedding down for the night as the sky begins to darken, and the crickets coming out and singing because they think it's nighttime, and all of that. So I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited for it. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to watch as well from where you are, or maybe you're even traveling for it. I know they're saying we're going to get like I think it's like over 100,000 people now coming into town for it. So I'm not going anywhere. We are just going to stay home and watch it from our deck outside. But I think it's going to be super, super fun, and very, very excited for it. My boss decided that we could close for the day because normally it would be a work day for me. But I don't think anybody's going to want to be inside painting pottery on the day of the solar eclipse when you're in the path of totality. So yeah, she agreed to close for the day. So I'm very, very excited about that because I get to stay home with my family and watch and enjoy. So I don't know if anybody will be watching my video on Monday because there'll be much more interesting things happening, scientifically speaking, but if you are watching before or after, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. For some reason, I'm having a real tough time getting these to stamp correctly. I don't know if I've got like a bubble in my, maybe I need to like pull my waffle flower mat out and set it back down again or wash it off. Maybe I've got some bubbles under there. I don't know. But I seem to be struggling, especially with the bottom of this strawberry. Just apply a little extra pressure here. Let's see if we can get... I normally only stamp my images twice, but I could definitely see some patchiness in some areas. So I went ahead and inked it up a third time, and that is much better. It's not quite perfect down at the bottom, but since we're going to be placing this little cluster of flowers right over top of it, I'm not too concerned. Just double checking to make sure everything else looks all right. Is there anything that needs a little bit of extra? Maybe this little strawberry right here. I don't know if that got all the ink pressed down. Let me just add a little touch of ink right there on that strawberry. Maybe I didn't even have it inked up. That's much better. Okay, I'm happy with that. We'll go ahead and pull that out. There we go. We can set that aside. I'm going to clean off my stamps with my stamp chamois, and then I'll be right back for the next step. And you know what I forgot to do in all my excitement about the eclipse? I forgot to take a picture of my layout so that I would remember, and I really like to have that to refer back to. So I've just cleaned off all my stamps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and kind of laid those back out again on my white cardstock panel so that I can take a photo. And I am going to actually turn to the page that I want in my pattern paper pad as well, and I'll just lay that on there so that I can remember which sheet I wanted to use. And then I'm going to open up my phone and just take a photo of that. There we go. So now I have that reference photo. I really do like to have that. I think it is a huge help because, you know, like I said, sometimes it's a couple of days before I actually go to make the card, and I want to be sure that I can remember what I wanted to do, because, you know, once everything is colored and die cut, it can be difficult to reconstruct that if you don't know how you wanted it, you know. So that reference photo helps me a ton. So let me just put all of these away, and then we will grab some cardstock. We'll figure out what color cardstock we're going to use for our card base. Alright, so let's choose a color card base, and I do have a few cut out already. I'm going to go with the ones that are the correct direction already, because I think we have a lot of options here that will work. Let's see. We have that. We could just do plain red. There is a peach in here, which kind of goes with those flowers there, but I don't think I really like that one very much. The red would be okay, but then I have to do a insert because it's kind of hard to stamp on the inside in a contrasting color or in a coordinating color. So maybe one of these two. I like this one. This is Lawn Fawn Mermaid cardstock. That one goes nicely with that. And then this one is Guava cardstock, which is kind of like a mix between these two. It's very similar to these flowers down in the corner here. Which one? Either of these would work. Maybe we'll go with the guava just for something different because I do use this color quite often. So as far as the background, there's not going to be a lot showing because in that oval space, it's almost completely filled with the images. So I think I'll just do a very simple watercolor background using some Distress Oxide inks. Most likely I'll use Salvage Patina because it's very similar to this color, and probably some Twisted Citron to blend with this color. So I'll go ahead and grab those. So those would be the ink colors that we would want to use. And I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, this one came together really quick and easy today. I'm really excited. So we've got our pattern paper, we've got our card base, we've got our background colors, we've got our die, and then we've got our 3 stamp sets and the images. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see that a little bit better. But we've got everything that we need to create this card now. So stay tuned. My next video on Friday is going to be the completion. So if you want to see this card come to life, that will be Friday's video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you're able to see the eclipse today if you are in any way possible close to it. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you again very soon. All right, bye-bye.